Today is the last full day of official summer, Keith, but for an awful lot of people, it doesn't seem much like a summer day.
Yeah, it feels like we already buried it, doesn't it? It feels like we turned the corner pretty hard there on Monday, and I don't see any big heat in the forecast either. We'll talk more about that in a second. The story today is, can we get a little sun? And some areas are able to, the mid-coast, southern coastal Maine, and just a kind of a big gap that goes back into the mountains here. But as a percentage, you can see most of the state is still socked in. And if you're in down east or northern Maine, you're probably going to stay that way. Western Maine has a chance of eroding those clouds over the next couple of hours. Temperatures are in the low to mid 60s for the most part, 50s as you head into northern New Hampshire. Average highs around 70 this time of the year, and we're not going to get there. And it's even cooler over down east Maine and northern Maine. Temperatures there are stuck into the 50s. So you can see this model trying to erode that cloud cover. We better start doing it soon, though. It gets harder to do later in the afternoon with that sun angle waning this time of the year. Staying cloudy over down east and northern Maine, though. We go partly cloudy tonight. Temperatures drop down into the 50s, but probably not much more than that as this next system approaches. Now, tomorrow morning is likely cloudy to start, and then showers and thunderstorms come through mid to late morning. And some of those will bring some heavy downpours that will continue through at least the middle of the day. This is 1 o'clock. And then eventually moving offshore in the afternoon. So maybe a brief break to some sun across the interior tomorrow afternoon. But again, a lot of us are going to wait until Friday to see more substantial sun. And Friday begins a different pattern for us, which is generally more favorable. There's more sunshine, but it's also breezy, especially on Friday and Saturday. There's that high. That's going to give us breezy conditions on Friday, which is going to be cool, only in the 50s, I think, most of the day on Friday. There's Fiona. Fiona's being steered by that cold front that's going to come through tomorrow, luckily, and it pushes it away from us off to the east. But then Fiona adds its own winds on Saturday, so it continues to be breezy, if not windy, on Saturday. Sunday is probably the pick not only of the weekend, but of the last 5 or 6 days, as we're going to see a good deal of sunshine and temperatures popping into the upper 60s there. Let's take you to Fiona, which is now a Category 4 hurricane, really well developed, almost developing what we call an annular structure to it, where it gets a big center eye, and see how the actual storm is becoming extremely compact as far as its presentation. So this is a very strong major hurricane. It will continue to move off to the north and northeast away from the United States, and then take a little hook back at the end here, and it looks like it'll be to the west of Bermuda. As you can see, though, on Saturday, that's relatively close to Maine, all things considered. And when you look at it on the American GFS model, you can see that it's not that far, and there's a lot of what we call these isobars, these lines that are moving into Maine. So what that shows us is that over down east Maine, it's likely to be probably more than breezy and actually pretty windy on Saturday, and this is going to be a major storm for Nova Scotia with winds possible over 100 miles an hour. So we're getting lucky on that front. Yeah, it's breezy, but it's not like that. And then, as I mentioned, I think Sunday is the best day of the weekend. Could get to around 70 degrees, and there's a mixture of sun and clouds. Nice day there. Showers probably back into the forecast on Monday and Tuesday too, when we drop back into the mid 60s. And as I mentioned kind of at the beginning there, Pat, I do not see anything anomalously warm, and we're going to be going into late September there without any insight.
Yeah, it sounds like we've maybe seen the end of all of that.
Probably,
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah.